square. Then if you just pick your pants up, stretch the waistband, the elastic will go completely inside. And then you're just left with the hole that we made to put that elastic in. We now need to close that hole. So you thread a needle, and we have just a teeny tiny little bit of hand stitching to do. And I'm just going to bring this needle to the inside and come up that folded edge right there. And we're going to do what's called a slip stitch, which means the fabric or the needle slips itself along the fold. So I came up this side, I'm going to come across, just take a little tiny stitch right in the folded edge, pull it closed, and then I come back straight across again to this side and I slip the fabric through the fold. And I'm going to make my stitches between 1/8, never ever more than 1/4 of an inch as I'm doing this slip stitch towards both sides. There are some sources that actually call this a ladder stitch because you're kind of going back and forth and back and forth. Again, I come back to my side again, slip it in down to where my next stitch is, a little bit less than 1/4 of an inch. I come back straight across, barely catch that edge. Come back straight into that fold again, slip it through the fold down to where my next stitch is going to be, come back across, catch that folded edge, and you will continue that until you get your hole closed. Tie a knot at the end of your thread, and then bury that thread in your seam allowance. So you can see that closes it up quite nicely. It's not going to take very long. I just keep heading back from side to side. Closes that hole up. When I get to the end and I'm ready to tie my knot, okay, loop that fabric in a loop away from me, catch that last stitch, and notice my needle went right up through my loop. Do it a second time, only this time I loop towards me. Go back through that very same stitch and piece of fabric and up through. That has tied it in as close as we can get to a square knot by sewing. And then I'm just going to slip my needle through into my casing over about 1/2 inch, trim that thread. And now my thread tail is inside where you can't see it, but I haven't cut so close that I'm going to risk having my cut right by my knot and having that come out. And that finishes your waistband off and finishes it nicely. Okay, your cuffs.